Welcome to the Not Bohemian Growth Podcast, the only podcast with more hosts than listeners. Well, going back for the previous episode is me, Charles. We got Nolan back on the show.
Let me out of the basement.
And going new to the show, new guy, new person, is Bread. Bread, introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Bread. I play video games and listen to music. That's all I do. And I am also stuck in Charles's basement and need to be let out.
Whoa! You
Boo.
suck.
Wow, I never met anyone who's played video games and listened to music before. That's pretty unique.
I know. I'm definitely one of a kind.
Holy fuck.
How normal would you say you are then, on a scale of 1 to 10?
You see, you can't really place me on the scale because your scale is only limited from a number of 1 to 10.
You said you're a pretty
and between
normal
that
guy.
1 to 10, it doesn't allow me to express my true weirdness in that scale. Because as a human being, I am not defined into scales. I am not constricted into these scales. Because I am a free-spirited human being. So about a 4.
Bobby, you say you're a 7?
Yeah, I was 7. I'm gonna go with a 6 now because now I'm on a podcast.
Previous episode, we talked a lot about kind of like film and technology and like recording medium. Yeah, I wanted to say something more about that, about the whole more about like movie technology and stuff, which is about like frame
Hold
rate.
up, Charles.
What?
We promised something in the previous episode that you're not living up to.
What was that?
We promised we'd answer the Jewish question.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the dreaded answer that nobody wants to give to this dreaded question.
And I think the answer to the Jewish question is Jews are pretty alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually exist, honestly. I think we've been told a sham. I believe that there has not been a single Jewish person on this earth.
Yeah.
So are you saying that Israel is just the Dead Sea?
Yes.
So what about the Palestinians? Are they just killing themselves? That reminds me of an article I once read that said more people in Palestine express less will to live than anywhere else.
Understandable. Charles.
I was going to talk about frame rates and
Oh,
why
shit.
and why lower frame rates is sometimes better, depending.
I know.
I mean,
Often I'll go to the picture store and I will pick up the cheapest frame for my photos. And they come at a lower rate, obviously. And I think, wow, this picture frame works just as well as the most expensive model.
And then your wallet thanks you because you've spent so little on such a nice frame for a...
Yeah, and it helps people appreciate the wall more.
If we're being serious, though, the human eye can't see past, like, 30 frames, so I don't see why this is such a...
30? Are you insane? They can't see past 5.
5?
5 frames a second.
Well, let's agree to
The human eye
disagree.
sees everything in a slideshow.
So the main thing that people disagree about is that, today we use digital cameras instead of real film, but we still maintain the frame rate of 24 frames per second, which is the one that they used in the film business and all that. But, with digital cameras and all that, we could be showing movies at 30 frames per second or even higher. We could have like 60 frames per second movies and stuff. And I just kind of want to give a defense for lower frame rates beyond the obvious. Oh, it saves money, it saves hard drive space, it's easier to edit for special effects and everything. What I believe that the frame rate means to an audience is kind of determined by what they've been taught it means. So, for example, home movies before VHS and stuff were filmed on 8mm or Super 8mm film at 12, 16, and 18 frames per second. Because, again, you had to use physical film, it wasn't all digital. So the smoother the frame rate, the more footage you'd have to use. Most home movies before the 80s were done at even lower frame rates because you got the most bang for your buck. 12 frames a second would give you twice the amount of time as 24 and stuff. Because of that, lower frame rates such as 12 or 16 will feel like an old home movie and it'll feel warm and nostalgic. Because that's what we think of when we see smooth video. Our mind latches onto like home movies and silent films from the past. It creates a specific like artistic aesthetic that was defined by the limitations of the time. The whole reason that movies chose a standard frame rate was to better sync audio, which wasn't needed for silent film. In fact, the clacker that you see in the behind the scenes stuff with like, and action, clack, the whole purpose of that was to sync the audio and the video by syncing the clack sound and the visual. Just thought that was a fun fact.
Sometimes artistic value should be valued more than them sick graphics, man.
Yeah.
Or them sick stats.
There's even another medium that's even more important that lower frame rates be used, which is the limited animation style of anime. Because
I was literally just about to say that.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done on this podcast. So see you guys next week.
next
He's
week
tapping out.
tapping out.
All right, this has become the Ugu anime podcast with our
Ugu.
weeaboo Bread and Nippon Steel Charles.
Yes. So back in the 1940s, when Disney made movies, it was all animated at 24 frames per second, and looked very fluid. Disney animation in the movies from back then was super fluid, very smooth, because they used so much frames, but that cost like a shitload of money, of course.
Did you know that Hitler's favorite movie was Snow White?
Oh yeah.
And the Seven Dwarfs.
I think I also liked King Kong.
Hong Kong?
King Kong, the movie. So, a lot of cartoons would use a lot of special techniques to use less animation, but still fill the same amount of time. For example, Hanna-Barbera cartoons, like the Flintstones, would have stationary characters, but only the head animated. That's why all the characters have neckties, because, Fred Flintstone has a tie, Yogi Bear has like a necktie, Snagglepuss, all the Jetson characters have wings around their necks. That's all on purpose, because that way you have a line to separate the head from the rest of the body, so they only animate the head and keep the body stationary in all those Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
You do really have to give it off to Hanna-Barbera creating low-tier, quick-to-produce animation cartoons.
Yeah. And, back then no one else really did that. It was either, super fluid or not. So they came up with a lot of creative techniques and stuff that we still use today. Like, the stereotype of, like, animation running cycles, or the background will be, like, repeating. And that's just shown over and over and over. The real pioneer of limited animation as a legit art form was, like, in Japan, because Japan was in an economic depression after World War II. Osamu Tezuka, the grandfather of anime and manga, pioneered cartoons that had very little movement and was very cheap, with his first TV anime Astro Boy, which also became the first anime to broadcast in America. The most common anime visual cliches you see, such as like a stationary character being panned and just like speed lines to simulate movement, or like characters that are jumping in the air as stationary drawings just being slid across the sky background. So anime just has a lot of panning shots, because panning shots are just like a single frame stretched out for seconds at a time, and it can fade action, with a lot less. Usually only the really important scenes were animated, like, really high. Otherwise, they might, like, walk and run at, like, 12 frames per second or even lower. And because it's so deeply encoded into the medium of anime, many CGI anime is still at lower frame rates and being very choppy on purpose to capture the romanticized, low FPS that only existed because Japan was fucking poor. So now frame rate is a stylistic choice as opposed to nearly a budget choice. So, that's another example. The third example is in Hollywood films, sometimes fight scenes will be done at 21 or 22 frames per second, because it feels more snappy. Because you're in a fight, and it's kind of going a little bit faster than you can comprehend. Because, there's like a frame is being removed every scene. So fight scenes look a lot more snappy and, like, quick, but only by a little bit. Next time you watch a fight scene in a movie, if it feels suddenly, like, a little bit less smooth, then they remove the frame just to make it, like, a little bit more snappy. So that's another cool cool trick.
Well, I didn't know a lot of that.
Yeah.
Thank you for informing me.
So just to sum this up, just to finish up my point here, is that 24 frames per second is associated with cinematic just because all the films have been in 24. So it's never really going to go away because everyone wants to create that like specific feel that 24 frames per second creates in movies. Filmmakers would say it's all dreamy, like 24 is dreamy, but it's just like you've associated that with like going to the movies and stuff. It's just been Pavlovian conditioned in my opinion. But it's not a bad thing. I think that, frame rates can change depending on the situation and the art style and the budget, and they're all good in their own special way. Choppy and slow and shitty frame rates can convey a lot of like emotion and have a lot of artistic reason beyond just, oh, it's not smooth enough. So that's my final point.
Yeah, I essentially agree with you on pretty much every point you have there.
Sometimes not having any animation at all is more effective than having animation. If you just have a voiceover over an image, give you some music in the background.
You just have Battlefield 5 has woman in it and you complain about it if your avatar standing still. That's real animation.
No.
Yeah, you only have to
animate. That was not what I was talking about.
That's real animation.
I was talking about like Quentin Tarantino and Django Unchained, where he just halfway through the movie puts it to a with words on the screen, the sound of a film camera going in the background, and just explains like what was going on in like the jump in time.
Yeah, because that's what movies did back in the day. They try to replicate that. Quentin Tarantino is like the only guy who films the real film anymore. He's like, fuck digital.
Fuck digital. Fuck the digital revolution. We go back to the old school, motherfucker.
Quentin Tarantino needs to stop putting pizza sauce in his blood squibs, though. Dude, when you get shot, your blood does not spray all over the room. You cannot literally paint the walls red.
So anyone else got a topic?
I can tell you about black historical revisionism. We're white devils, right? All of us.
Yes.
Charles, Hispanics are honorary whites for this conversation.
White. Yes.
Yes.
You don't get the full title. Maybe if you suck up enough, you'll get the full title. Detroit become human, California become white. Us white devils might think that we know shit about North American history. But I'm willing to wager you white devils don't even know where African Americans came from. Where do you think they came from, Charles?
I think they came from Africa.
Wrong! You are a white devil.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. African Americans are, in fact, indigenous Americans. And it was through white lies and Asian cover-ups that the people you currently know as the Indians or natives are known as the natives. The real aboriginals are Africans, quotation mark. They're black.
Where does this leave the cover-up of the Indians? Where does that leave them? Are they still...
The whites imported them.
Oh.
And also I hear that the Chinese are also in on this, or the Asians are also in on this?
Well, because they look slightly Asian, right?
Oh.
So
That was like the white people imported some new natives. What happened in the Columbian days is Christopher Columbus, the absolute madman, sailed up to North America and South America, and he stole all the black people.
every single one? Just gobbled them up?
The Spanish Empire stole them and took them all to Africa. And that's why we know Africans as black, because they're the descendants of Native Americans that were brought there. And we imported white people in their stead. But the truth is coming out, people. You can, if you are an indigenous American, you can take a blood test and find out which tribe you're a part of. And then you better go to that government and tell them, you better give me the status rights. You better go yell at the people occupying your homeland.
Powerful.
Powerful. Absolutely powerful. And
This
also,
is everything.
Yeah, 100% true. Do you white
So
devils
valid.
feel enlightened that Native Americans are in fact fakes, fraudulent white conspiracy, and black Africans are actually indigenous Americans? Do you feel enlightened?
yes, I believe
Yes.
your opinion is so valid.
Opinion! My
Sorry,
fact is valid.
Yes, your fact
My
is
fact
valid.
is valid. Also, according to some groups, Jews are a lie completely. And we're not just talking about the usual groups that say Jews are a lie completely. We're talking about indigenous American groups who are been misled by white lies to make them believe that they are in fact the true Jews and the chosen people of God.
That's right.
And they want to kill all the Jews, and they think the Holocaust was a joke. In all reality, the Holocaust was a joke. It went a bit too far, but we have to learn to forgive.
Learn to forgive.
The
Get that
ultimate prank.
trending on Twitter. Hashtag forgive Nazis. That black people were the real victims. They're being denied their status as God's chosen people.
This is true.
Well, this is true.
I think the logical extension of this is that the Holy Land is Detroit. Yeah.
Do tell.
You look at the scriptures, it's just a land. Israel, you'd expect from all the scriptures to be a land of plagues and such if it was not controlled by God's chosen people, and it was being occupied by foreign power such as the imperialistic America. And if you look at Detroit, that fits the bill perfectly. A land of plagues. Get what I'm going at?
I do believe so.
If you want to become truly enlightened, you have to dye yourself black and take a spirit walk through the streets of Detroit.
Yeah.
While doing your indigenous American call.
what would that call be, Nolan? By chance?
That's right.
That is in fact right.
We need to make a Fallout game called Fallout Detroit, where you travel through abandoned buildings, collecting stim packs, and fight ghouls and super mutants. But the plot twist is that the US got nuked at the end of the game, and you were just in regular Detroit the whole time. When you drink tap water, you get 50 rads.
After the bomb falls, you can keep playing the game, and it's 25 rads afterwards.
You know that slavery side quest in Fallout 3? I did that IRL Detroit. Yeah, whenever I go to Detroit, they call me a smooth skin. Yeah, I sure is smooth skin. And
What are you doing in these parts, smooth skin?
And then like these super buff guys are like collecting bodies to eat. It's just like
Ran
Detroit.
into a few super mutants. They stole my car. praying for Pavel, my Polish, terribly racist guy on my server whose grandfather was a member of the SS.
Oh, you mean one of those electrician guys?
No, I think his grandfather primarily worked with gas.
Okay, so everybody has spoken about a topic except for me. It is my turn.
Brendan, we don't want to talk about Smash Brothers.
Ah, god damn it. Listen, all I'm saying is that next time you see me at EVO, and I'm in the grad finals, and this podcast gets resurfaced, and I say the N-word, and my whole body image just falls apart, and I am left with nothing but the dirt on the ground. All I have to say is, it wasn't worth it. I hate everybody on this podcast. I'm sorry.
We already beat you to it. On the last episode, you said the N-word a bunch of times.
Yeah, Schrodinger. No, God, no. Lovecraft's cat. Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
The unfortunate name cat.
The cursed cat. You cannot speak his name, for the beeps come.
That's why black cats have bad luck.
H.P. Lovecraft cursed all cats. Oh man, you think it was black?
Oh shit! I really hope
it was.
Nice.
Oh, man. You didn't know that?
I didn't even consider that. I thought he was just being a dickhead and named his cat that.
His cat was black.
The lore goes deep, friends. The lore goes deep. We talked about this before, or you guys talked about this before on the other podcast on the previous episode. I want to talk more about my experiences with finding the man, the myth, the other legend, Unistar, the man who commissioned the beautiful work of art known as...
I believe we were in the same room when we finally delved deep into that.
Yes, we were. Where we find
we made it a mission.
Where we find the accursed man who did the accursed comic, or commissioned the accursed comic, 2 Bunnies, 1 Fox, and its sequel. So, as you can tell, I was the friend that was trying to help find Unistar. And it turns out that most of his business is done through Ink Bunny, which is kind of this really old furry place. Think like Fur Affinity.
What? You don't have an Ink Bunny account? Come on, dude.
I do have. Funny enough,
actually you do.
His account is on private, so you actually have to make an account to see his profile. And funnily enough, I now own the Gmail account Cucking Liberal.
Make sure to email that later.
Yes, email me all of your art and suggestions at cuckingliberal@gmail.com.
Only dick pics. Just send
only dick pics.
Not even yours, anyone's.
I have the email address charlesbuckleytolpa@horsefucker.org if you want to email me there.
Yeah, I have the email address whitehouse.gov.
Oh,
send me your Lovecraft cat over here.
Yes. Send me all the photos you can of Lovecraft.
Just send me the sentence, "It's good that black guy's finally gone. I appreciate the new shade of orange."
Ink Bunny is kind of a Wild West where everything is really allowed. And it really shows when you see Mr. Unistar's account. Because you think it stops at 2 Bunnies, 1 Fox. You'd see nothing more, but oh no, it continues. And there is a lot of what I can only describe as hell
pure
in
degeneracy.
Bunny's account. Yeah. I actually got kind of close to him eventually. Because you can actually message people on it. And turns out he does have a Facebook account. He does have a Steam.
Nice.
How long did you do this op?
With you, it must have been like 3-4 hours, but
I know, but like after that,
on and off for about 2 years at this point.
What?
Yeah, I've been doing
this shit.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get his name. Which, by the way, if he does eventually watch this, hi Unistar, it's me, Cucking Liberal. Your boy.
You're revealing your motives, Brendan. You can't do that until the final episode.
Fuck. It's too late now. I don't want them to edit out all of this. But either way, I was so tempted on getting so deep into this that I was really tempted on buying a Cintiq tablet just so that I can try to get him to commission me. Because on commission forms, you do have to put your full name. And if I get Unistar's name and his power word, this opens up the infinite possibilities of figuring out who he actually is.
Have you tried just getting really close with the other artists that work with him?
Sadly, a lot of them are also very secretive with what they do. Which, considering what they do...
That makes sense. Because,
considering what they do.
Some people like Lonnie have like 10 million holes in their thing. So you can track them all over the internet and you find an account from like 2009 where they were uploading YouTube poops.
Everybody has a YouTube poop account that they have.
Damn.
If it's worth anything, I did.
You had a YouTube poop account?
Yeah. But am I going to let anybody know about it? No. God, no.
You just let us know about it. Now you got to show it to us.
Good luck finding it, motherfuckers.
If your first name is your power word, is your last name a superpower word?
Yes.
Oh.
I think it's just doxing at that point.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Doxing is the equivalent of meeting someone up on the internet.
When you say someone's powered and super powered, the SWAT breaks into the live stream.
And shoots them directly in the back of the head.
Wait, just anyone's? They don't even have to be on the stream? So I could just say Dan Schneider?
Yeah, shit.
Powerful magic.
Powerful magic.
Internet magic.
If you say Dan Schneider during a live stream, he breaks into your house and forces you to smell his feet. He's like, "All right, come here, boy."
No, he wants to smell yours. He doesn't make you smell his.
Either way, back on the topic. My final statement is the quote that he has on his profile, and boy, howdy, it's one that'll go down for the ages.
Who? Dan Schneider?
Unistar. However, wouldn't it be fucked up?
Now just imagine this next quote from Dan Schneider. Didn't he get fired recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got fired from Nick, actually.
Now he's going to create Schneider Studios.
The logo's going to be a giant foot.
It was a giant foot, remember?
Yeah, Nickelodeon had like a foot logo.
Nick. I am an advocate of free speech and expression. None of my art reflects what I feel in real life. I simply have a different point of view from the average majority of people. That does not mean I condone harm or misuse of any person in real life. Freedom to create what I want, no matter how controversial or hatred, needs to have a place. I am not hurting anyone at all, and all my art is intended to be viewed by adults only. And if you don't like it, find your own place that isn't here. Your place of freedom to express yourself, as long as your actions do not hurt anyone. Signed, Dan Unistar Schneider.
Powerful.
Oh,
extremely powerful.
That's a conspiracy. Dan Schneider is Unistar.
Yeah.
Oh no!
That's why he's so secretive.
The two babies will iColly and Sam.
Fuck. No, there's not enough foot stuff in that.
It's because he's just trying to hide it.
I don't doubt though.
Dan Schneider is more embarrassing than the Unistar.
What if this is all deep state and Dan Schneider created the foot just to cover up his Unistar identity? So people think Dan Schneider's only into feet and not what Unistar's into.
Yeah.
What deep state fuckery is this?
I think I saw a QAnon post that suggested just that. We solved it. Did you know that QAnon, he predicted that after Trump got elected, Hillary goes straight to prison immediately? And when that didn't happen, he resorted to like more vague and like completely unhelpful predictions. That's almost like it's all bullshit.
Maybe. You never know. You never know with those people.
Do you know about the QAnon Christmas? Well, everyone, if you go on Twitter and search QAnon Christmas, there's all these people like, my family abandoned me and don't want me to go to Christmas because I want to keep bringing the truth to QAnon. QAnon brothers, let's spend Christmas together. So sad. They're kicked out of their family because they just keep spouting their conspiracies. They're like, this is the truth. QAnon.
That's always the saddest when people clearly have mental illness really into like conspiracy theories and it just ruins their life. The prime
Alex
example
Jones.
And then they just blame the conspiracy for why their society is like, pushing them away. So it just makes them deeper.
Yeah, the prime person for that is definitely Terry Davis because
I thought you were going to talk about Alex Jones and how he went from a a pretty reputable newscaster in the 90s to like a fucking loon in the modern day.
I just know more about Terry Davis and his 20-year fall from grace, not Alex Jones' ascension.
Whoa, what if Alex Jones started Jonestown?
Shit.
Alex Jonestown?
Alex Jonestown.
Instead of Kool-Aid,
You're gonna drink the Kool-Aid!
Instead of Kool-Aid, he gives you water, filtrated water. It's like, use my special water filtration method. Alex Jones is just a humble water filtration merchant.
Yeah.
We can defeat the demons! Ascend to the next realm!
Drink the Kool-Aid! Ascend!
This is the Info War!
This is the Info War!
That should be what it says. It should say, I have the info logo.
Start selling Alex Jonestown Kool-Aid on his site.
Yeah. It should be the Info War logo, and then just says, this is the Info War.
His followers start trying to use the tap water in the place to use the Kool-Aid. He's like, don't use the tap water! The government's poisoning it!
Kool-Aid Man's less popular sister, Vagina Juice Woman. Just a giant glass of vaginal fluids. And he smashes through floors to give little kids vaginal juice. Yeah.
Where was this from?
It's a tweet I made. Vagina Juice Woman's partnership with Jamba Juice ended. They didn't want her to sell Vagina Juice and Jamba Juice anymore. That's a tweet I made.
Beautiful tweets. For more excellent tweets, go follow him at Charles Barkley Tulpa.
Yeah, they had the Foodie Period Blood Smoothie, the Clitoris Bean Supreme, the Hyman Bacon Sensation, and Stillborn Corn Soup. The tractors that claim to have bad taste are just overreacting. I make really good tweets.
For more good tweets, follow at Charles Barkley Tulpa.
For more good tweets, follow at Donald Trump.
Great. You got the alt-right crowd going now.
Yep. Well, we've already answered the Jewish question, so that's basically our audience now.
You might as well lean fully into it.
Today, alt-right audience. Tomorrow, Fourth Reich. Come on, guys.
We can do it.
But Charles, you better attain whiteness first. You better become white.
Whiteface.
Whiteface it. Be Tom Cruise.
Yes, hello, my fellow Caucasian.
Hello, my fellow Caucasians.
Anyone want to ride on my lawnmower?
You see that tweet was, the clitoris has 8,000 nerve endings, but still isn't as sensitive as a white man on the internet.
Next topic.
I was going to talk about something I discovered recently that's strange about our province.
What?
The fact that it takes you a year on a learner's license to get your new drivers so you can drive independently. But with motorcycles, it takes you 30 days.
Really?
Yeah. So the deadly crotch rocket, you can get that license 30 days. You're good. You can do that whatever. You can do that 30 days. Don't even have to ride it.
Deadly crotch rocket.
Deadly crotch rocket. That's what they call motorcycles. Right? Come on, guys.
Man, motorcycles are really dangerous. So I'm still using them.
You can plow straight into cement barriers. They don't care. Cars, fucking year. Is that similar in your state or wherever you are? I assume you don't drive, but I might be wrong.
I transferred between states and between getting license, so I don't know. Washington's pretty cool because it's the DMV is privatized, so you don't have to go to a huge DMV to just privatize DMVs, and they're a lot smaller because they're personally owned by different people and not the government.
Look.
Yeah.
Really?
The best place to get a driver's license is Washington because of the privatized DMV.
Up in Canada, we don't subscribe to that capitalist bullshit, we communists. So obviously our government owns everything. Fuck freedom. Take away my guns.
Come get 'em, Mobamba.
Actually, no. I only need one of my guns so I can finish myself off.
One gun, one bullet. That's all I need.
Thing is we don't need gun control. We need bullet control. $1,000 a bullet.
That'd be ludicrous. $1,000 a bullet. Although I guess that would be effective.
Yeah, but bullets are really easy to make.
Yeah.
Gunpowder can be made from ground sand and piss. They used piss to make gunpowder back in the day, back in the 1500s.
Oh shit! I've been making gunpowder in my toilet this whole time.
Imagine peeing into a flame and just making it more powerful.
One second, gotta piss in my rifle barrel to make this bullet more powerful. Gotta enchant this bullet.
You take out your Gatling gun and just fill it with piss.
Like a tube, and just connect your bladder to the
gun. It's like filling water balloons with piss.
Just piss into your pipe bombs.
I imagine the cops arrive to your lake house, and you're like, "Come get him, Obama!" And then you just shoot them with piss-filled rifles. Hilarious.
There's just huge factories of people pissing into bullets. It's in some poor country. Keep pissing! Just chugging water.
Back before they made synthetic piss to put in our barrels, that's why muskets took so long to reload. They had to piss down the barrel every time they wanted to fire it.
Do you know how expensive rockets are? You have to piss enough to launch yourself into space.
What do you need for those?
You have to break into the atmosphere with your piss.
A nuclear bomb filled with piss.
Piss fusion.
I already imagine that this podcast will be listened to by many piss fetishizers everywhere.
Alright.
Welcome to
Stop talking about piss. This is pissing me
off. With our piss-filled guns.
Dare you enter my magical realm?
Do you dare enter my magical realm?
Flamethrowers are just piss.
Piss throwers.
Did you hear about that guy who bought an illegal flamethrower so he could clean up his front lawn during the winter? There's just so much snow, he just grabbed a flamethrower on it, and he was arrested.
Uh-oh.
Shit.
It's time
God
for a
damn it.
phone call.
Guest voicemail.
Guest.
This isn't... No. Telemarketer.
You should got him on the show. You
guys should have got
put him on speakerphone.
All right, telemarketer, what are you selling? What are you selling to our wonderful viewers?
It's a sponsorship.
We're getting sponsored on the second episode? Oh, shit!
Charles, who are we sponsored by this week?
We're sponsored by the KKK.
Nah, yeah.
They sell the best wooden crosses around.
We got the KKK loot box in the mail today. Let's all open up a KKK loot box.
Yeah, here's the mask. Everybody try on your masks. Mine
It
fits.
features 5 black fingers.
I didn't get much.
And if you're really lucky, you might get a toe.
I don't think I was white enough because I got a pretty bad package.
What did you get in yours?
A burning cross.
Ah, yeah.
Just a bomb in the mail.
This is a sponsor.
My dad fucking died. He opened it, thought it was for him.
Just to open a loot box on video and it explodes. The loot box Unabomber. Dude,
Jesus Christ.
I want the loot box Unabomber now. That
The
sounds so
Unabomber
good.
loot box. You buy it and it just...
If you get really lucky, you get anthrax.
Oh my god. Oh god. Fuck. Alright. So what's the next topic, boys?
I was going to talk
Charles,
about...
do you drink?
Yes, I drink.
What sort of liquids do you drink? Do you boys like to breathe at all?
Yeah.
Not really, but I do anyways.
I would say I'm a thorough air addict. If I don't get it, I just die.
Yeah. Oxygen is just a slow killing poison that kills you in 80 years.
That's a pretty good conspiracy theory.
We don't actually have to breathe. The government just says we have to.
It's all part of the psyop to make us buy the oxygen on Mars. Yeah.
Holy shit, that's the long con.
They have planned this since the dawn of time for when they go to Mars.
Someday, we're gonna be on fucking Mars.
Listen, Big Air is just trying to sell us Mars.
That's why in Jimmy Neutron they didn't need air spacesuits.
Shit.
Big Air is just trying to sell us
Dan
Mars.
Schneider was trying to tell us something.
Falling for the oxygen Jew.
Trying to steal all of our foreskins and water and air.
So yeah.
Actually, there's a problem with that because Jews' nostrils are large.
Oh yeah. They steal all the air.
Thinking something. So
That's how
maybe
they
the
steal the
Jews
air.
are fooled, and this goes deeper.
Oh shit.
Who fools the Jews? Who's a level above the reptilians?
The
I
Mormons.
don't know. Who runs Big Air? The Mormons.
I knew there's something strange about that Salt Lake.
Yeah, so I've just been drinking water, piss, and bleach for the last couple of weeks.
I've been drinking Charles's piss for the last 2 weeks. It's pretty good, but it's not as good as Brendan's piss.
They do a TikTok. This is me 1 week after drinking Charles' piss. This is me 2 weeks after drinking Charles' piss. I have more information dumps on film bullshit. So they're talking about Alan Smithee, the worst director of all time.
Yes.
Because Alan Smithee is a pseudonym a director uses when they aren't proud of the work. So if they directed a movie or music video or whatever, and they don't want to use the real name, they'll change it to Alan Smithee. That's the official fake name. That was what the Directors Guild of America used. It was the sole pseudonym. You couldn't use any other pseudonym. So it looked like all these movies are made by the same guy if you didn't know what was going on. I learned about this term because I was trying to find a song I liked when I was 14 or whatever. And the music video was Juicebox by The Strokes. And in the music video shows all forms of sexual lust. So there's men and women, men and men, woman and woman, and woman and dog. Which was very subtle in the music video. But in the context of it, it's very obvious what it's about.
What the fuck? Man and dog isn't allowed?
It was just like
What the fuck, a dog in the ass, dude?
It was just like an old lady, like, washing the floor while staring at her dog and jiggling her titties. But it was all, like, really subtle. The music video has Alan Smithee in the title, so that's how... Alan Smithee is the director, so that's why I learned about it. Because, originally, they wanted to make it a lot more saucy, but they cut it out, and he was like, this isn't my product anymore, the editor ruined it. I don't want my name on it. I wanted to have real dog sex in there, but I couldn't. Alan Smithee was the only alias you're allowed to use until the movie Alan Smithee Burns Hollywood Burn, which is a parody mockumentary about a director who wanted to move his name from a film, but he was named Alan Smithee. So that's like the joke in the movie, is that he couldn't have his name replaced because he was Alan Smithee. So
That's hilarious.
So he steals the film to like burn it and stuff, and that's the plot of the movie. It's like a mockumentary. But the thing that killed the name is because the movie got a lot of bad press Like the press was like giving it, confusing information and news about it. Arthur Hiller, the director, wanted his name removed, so it became an Alan Smithee film by Alan Smithee, and because of that, the name is retired. And that's the story. Some famous movies that were credited to Alan Smithee were recuts of the Dune movie. The original movie wasn't, but any recuts for like TV or DVD all have Alan Smithee because the guy wanted it to be as confusing as possible. They didn't like that they tried to make it more sense.
What movie, sorry?
Dune.
Yeah,
he also, the assistant director of the Twilight Zone movie is Alan Smithee. Do you know about the Twilight Zone? Do you know about that?
Zone not good?
The main actor and 2 children were killed in the Vietnam sequence. There's actually footage of this. You can find it where the
lead actor and who was killed?
2 children.
Yeah. That's right.
They went in a Vietnam sequence, and one of the spinning helicopter blades fell down and just killed them immediately. They went,
fuck!
Yeah! It's horrible.
Talk about a Nom flashback.
The Nom flashback was so powerful, it killed the actors. Anyway, Alan Smithee did that, so fuck him.
Alan Smithee killed 2 children and an actor.
And he made Dune. Very, very crazy discography this guy has.
He made Dune and killed 2 children and an actor. Which one's worse, you decide.
So yeah, that's the most famous examples of Alan Smithee. The other ones are just like, a lot more no-name movies since the 60s.
Now we need a Twilight Zone episode about Alan Smithee being a real guy.
Why have I directed all these films? Why don't I remember any of this?
It's just a 10-second clip of him jumping off a ledge.
And then the guy actually dies, so it has to be credited to Alan Smithee. And then he watches his own movie, he's like, oh fuck! When did I jump off a cliff? And anytime someone credits the movie to Alan Smithee, he becomes the director. It's like, he steals their body. It's like Quantum Leap. He just steals the lives of bad directors.
Oh my god! We have cracked the code. This podcast is the most woke podcast on any platform possible.
M. Night Shyamalan is actually Alan Smithee.
We knew it.
No, he's the antagonist to Alan Smithee. Or the protagonist, depending on how you look at this.
Alan Smithee Quantum Leap, that's so good.
What do you think the most cursed, collaborative director project you could ever conceive of is? Just like the directors that if you put them together, they'd probably make just like a wreck. Because I'm thinking if you got M. Night Shyamalan and George Lucas to work on this thing together. Holy shit.
And Michael Bay.
Holy shit!
There'll be exploding devils, and then the devil turns out to be the main character.
There'll be a cut of Jar Jar Binks walking away from an explosion. But then the camera angle pans, and turns out he's walking towards the explosion, and it's a twist.
But Jar Jar Binks actually
there's been
the whole time.
quote-unquote subtle hints throughout the whole movie, which aren't subtle at all. There's literally a character going, Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord.
And then Jar Jar Binks gets defeated by spilling water on him.
I think, though, to put 2 good directors in the same place, that would end up with a shitfest of movie. If you put Quentin Tarantino and James Cameron on the same movie...
Oh, God.
Holy fuck. Every second shot would be some CGI bullshit, and then... but it would be filmed on film.
No, you should have the guy who directed Birdman and The Revenant, the 2, really long take movies, with someone who does really short takes. Short cuts, like a fucking Michael Bay or something.
No, the guy who directed Birdman and the Wachowski sisters.
Yes.
Because The Matrix is fucking cuts everywhere, and Birdman had no cuts at all.
Yes.
I can just imagine The Matrix, but it's all one long cut.
Dude, that would actually be really awesome.
That would be really awesome, actually.
Every time they transfer from it, you just cut through the
the digital realm.
What I want is from VR cinemas in the future, which will be a thing. I want a first-person experience of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yes. JFK Reloaded.
And then with the suicide booth on the outside, you can have the JFK experience. Including real bullet.
Have you heard the theory that JFK was just blowing on his thumb really, really hard? He was just writing the color I wonder if I blow my thumb.
Had a discussion about this, that JFK just had his mind blown. Someone just told him something so incredibly surprising to him.
His wife whispered in his ear, "Let's do a 3-way with Marilyn Monroe."
Boom!
JFK shot himself with a flesh-cut colored gun. He just pulled out his flesh-colored gun. Now's the time.
His wife told him that she knew about all the affairs.
I think it would be a lot funnier if his brain just did that on its own. No
Yeah.
help needed. It was just like, boom, done, bye.
Speaking of The Revenant, fight scenes in movies that are, like, comparing, like, unrealistic to realistic, because the final fight scene in The Revenant between the guy and the guy who killed his son was, like, they all started off really strong, and then the more they fought, the more weak they got. They were just, like, getting stabbed and, like, bleeding and breathing really hard and moving, like, super weak and everything. And I really liked that kind of, like, hyper-realistic fighting, because normally in movies, like, no one ever, like, takes a breath. Like, there'll be a chase scene, and they're, like, running for 10 minutes, and when they're done, he's just, like, he's not hyperventilating.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I got away.
And then there's directors who, like, have their characters move, like, 2 meters, and they're like,
Yeah,
I cannot move any further through this forest with no obstacles.
The only time people are breathing in action scenes is if it's for comedy or it's a horror movie, which is, because in horror movies that actually makes it more scary. So I think movies should, like, have more, like, characters are, like, breathing or tired, and I think that would make it more, like, relatable than just having, like, the badass who fights 5 people and is like, yeah, didn't break a sweat. I had the idea of, like, a movie or, like, a story where all the characters just do gross stuff that you never see on film, like, one character will be, like, picking his nose and flicking it and saying, it's, like, little stuff like that. One character is sick, but it's not relevant to the plot. He's just kind of, like, sniffling a lot.
An action movie, but all the action scenes are cut out, and it's just a bunch of exposition about them talking about what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, beat the fuck out of this dude.
One character is just drinking a lot of water because he's thirsty, and everyone else is talking about, like, killing people. It's just, like, little stuff that's never shown in film, but everyone does. I want to do something like that.
Guy's taking a piss.
There's just a 20-minute...
There's like 3 shots of it. After he gets back from one fight, his dick's all swollen. This is the kind of immersion I want in my movies.
After someone takes the fight, you just see them, like, wrapping up all the bandages for, like, 2 hours. Like, that hurts.
The movie's just one fight scene that's 5 minutes long, and then the rest of the movie is him just recovering from that one.
Holy shit. A movie that's just like 2 hours of the same fight scene.
Jesus Christ.
The fight scene ends and you just see, like, janitors having to clean up the body.
It starts with just one guy in a warehouse being confronted by mafiosos, and then it ends with the entire population of planet Earth dead.
I'd like to ask both of you, and I guess myself in this case, what are your guys' influences in your art/life? Who do you guys look up to when you create or when you do something? Personally, I look up to people like Flippy with a 1 and like Digibro, and of course I always look up to Charles because his videos are great.
Brendan wants to be your little brother, Charles.
Do you make anything?
Other than music, I haven't really been working much on videos, but I have a couple video ideas floating around. I just haven't gotten around to working on it. So what are your guys' influences? I guess this is mostly for Charles because he's the only one that really creates.
One time, I saw this guy get hit by a car. That inspired me to do nothing.
When I saw a guy get hit by a car, that inspired
me. That inspired me to express myself by doing the same thing. Is suicide just the ultimate expression you can do?
I guess so.
Influences.
But Charles.
So, my influences wasn't actually the Procrastinators podcast. It was the people who made stuff inspired by Procrastinators podcast. And I'm like, this is shit I could do better. I could show. It was literally me just being like, I could do better than this. I never done anything. I could do better than this.
Your art sucks. I could do better.
That's literally my most inspiration, is seeing shitty things and saying I could do that better. That's my main inspiration.
Actually, I do have a topic.
Yeah,
Brendan,
blow over
you and Charles could talk about My Little Pony.
No.
Both of us.
I like how he was willing to do it in the last podcast.
Well, we'll talk about the fandom, like, aspect of...
Well, I'm not talking about, like, the show specifically. The show is boring.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. That's not the entertaining part. The entertaining part is the shit the fandom does.
Yeah.
But
we don't really want... so potent, it caused people to want to fuck horses.
You know the classic saying, I want to come inside Rainbow Dash.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to completely blow over my topic and just talk about the fandom.
Well, let me finish. Shitty amateur YouTubers are a huge inspiration. Because I just see their videos and I'm like, I could do better than this. That's helped me a lot. It's just seeing YouTubers I don't like and thinking I can do better. That's literally my main inspiration. Other ones are YouTube Poops, All Falafel to Falafel. That guy who made It's Such a Beautiful Day. That guy's an inspiration. Have you seen that movie?
Charles, you aren't a real shitty YouTuber until you make videos with no audio except for electronic dance music and tell people what to do on text pads on your screen.
Yeah, just do 009 Dreamscape, unregistered hypercam text too.
Is that what that song is?
Yeah.
The fucking song that's on everything? Yeah, that one.
Wait,
It's in like every tutorial video.
009 Dreamscape. It's this national anthem of YouTube.
you were inspired by Awful Fawful?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my god.
The video that Alfalfa made called like about My Little Pony, the last one, called like Rainbow Dash defends memes in blackface. That one. That one is the video I watch every week, thinking, what can I make that's like this? Boards of Canada, big inspiration.
Yep. Boards of Canada is definitely one of my music inspirations too.
Staying up late at night, watching weird TV because I can't sleep before I had the internet. That's a big inspiration. My dad.
Yeah. My dad.
His penis in my mom's vagina was a big inspiration. Yeah, my dad also gave me cameras as a kid, so I kind of got into very basic photography when I was young, so that's cool.
Huh. All my dad gave me was his penis when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I got music topics if we want to discuss that.
We can discuss music, but keep in mind that I'll probably shit all over your music.
Yeah, most likely.
I was just gonna say, with one of my favorite bands, Weezer. Let's just say it's not very good because what they did is release a cover album. Well, let me tell you some of the songs that they covered. Africa, which of course they did. That's what they did to get their first #1 hit. Everyone Wants to Rule the World, Sweet Dreams, Take on Me, Happy Together, Paranoid, Mr. Blue Sky, Billie Jean, Stand By Me, and No Scrubs. But, you see, here's the thing. They aren't a cover band. So why do they have to make these covers?
Just to get on the radar.
That's the thing. Like, I understand why, but, like, none of them sound good.
I get angry every time I
with
hear a cover of a song.
Because River's voice doesn't fit into, like, any other song that isn't a Weezer song, because his voice is very off and nasally. So when he tries to, like, replicate somebody like Toto from Africa's voice, it doesn't work. Unless they're trying to, like, change the genre to something punk and grimy, like what they usually do. I wouldn't say grimy, but a lot more like pop punk. They're essentially just doing the same song, but with shittier vocals and shittier instruments, instead of trying to change it.
Yeah.
I think a good cover
Changes
is when
it,
when it changes the genre or changes something.
One band, it's called like Apocalyptica. They make music with only cellos and drums. That's the only two instruments they use. And they made a lot of original music, which I really liked when I was 13. And then when I go to a concert to watch them, they're just playing covers of Metallica and like other popular rock metal. Because they do like metal music, death metal, heavy metal, but with cellos, which is really cool. But when I went to their concert, I wanted to hear the original music that they made and I liked. And instead they played, Puppet Master and stuff, which is cool, I guess, but not what I wanted to see.
Songs.
Yeah. And I kind of was thinking, are they ashamed of the music? You should be ashamed. It's good music.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like,
well, it's also that, most people would go to listen to Metallica music than their own original music. That's also it.
Yeah, but
it's like a situation of like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a guy who plays Metallica music on the cello. I like Metallica. I like cello.
Nobody really likes cello.
Well, you haven't heard the music, then you would like cello.
Yeah, true, fair enough. I'll listen to them after this podcast
I'll
or something.
fucking link it to you. An underused instrument is sex as instrument.
I agree.
Sex as an instrument.
There needs to be more music that samples 1970s porn.
I'll be the first.
Yes. Like, the song Window Licker by Aphex Twin?
Yeah.
I love it because it's like, it's not sexual, but it is. It's sexual in a very abstract way. Anyway, I'll do my final topic. What if Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin failed to lift off on the moon and was stranded on the moon forever? Richard Nixon actually had a plan for this.
Boy.
So Richard Nixon had the plan ready before they even lifted off. First, he would call the soon-to-be widows of Neil and Buzz personally to tell them first, and then he would give a speech he prepared about them going to die on the moon. And I'll read the speech here because it's pretty short. He says, and it's very poetic, "Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. These brave men, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, know that there was no hope for their recovery, but they also know that there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. These two men will lay down their lives in mankind's most noble goal, the search for truth and understanding. They'll be mourned by their families and friends, they'll be mourned by their nation, they'll be mourned by the people of the world, and they'll be mourned by Mother Earth that dared to send two of her sons into the unknown. And their exploration, they stirred the people of the world to feel as one, and the sacrifice, they bind more tightly the brotherhood of man. In ancient days, men looked at the stars and saw their heroes in the constellations. In modern times, they do much the same, but our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. Man's search will not be denied, but these men were the first, and they will remain foremost in our hearts. For every human being who looks up at the moon in the nights to come will know that there is some corner of another planet that is forever mankind. And that's the end of the speech. So after the speech, he would have ordered, Mike Collins, the third astronaut who was orbiting around the moon, to leave. He would tell Mike Collins to leave him alone and go back home. So he would have to leave his friends behind.
Leave them alone.
Yeah.
He's gonna go down the moon and poke him with a stick.
So then, death for the two astronauts could come either from slow starvation or what Nixon termed deliberately closed down communications, which is a euphemism for suicide. So few knew of the secret plan until 1999, which was 30 years later, after a Los Angeles Times reporter discovered it while conducting an unrelated search in the National Archives. It's also worth noting that President Eisenhower had a speech prepared for D-Day if they failed, and that speech was in his front pocket the entire day. Or if he had to say it.
That wouldn't have been Eisenhower, that would have been...
No, it was Eisenhower. Franklin died before D-Day, right?
Well, then it would have been Truman. Eisenhower was in the 50s.
Oh, fuck, you're right. Why did I write down Eisenhower? Okay.
Well,
he was
a general at the time.
Yeah, and to be fair, his name is the coolest.
Yeah, so someone had a speech in his short pocket on D-Day.
Someone. Just some random soldier. It fails, he's getting shot at from the beachhead. I'd like to announce today D-Day America that we have lost on the beach.
He just laid on the floor bleeding. He pulls out his speech and like, I'm ready. Everyone is dying around him. Ah! He's like, men, today we have lost.
My fellow Americans,
not lost.
My fellow Americans, we have lost.
You snooze, you lose.
Oh God.
Yes.
Holy shit.
That's my final topic. Very emotional story.
Because it was holes in his paper.
My favorite Richard Nixon quote: "When the president does it, it means it's not illegal."
They can't lick our dicks. Vote for President Nixon. I'm not a crook. Lick my dick.
Apparently there's quite a lot of theory that the first time Nixon won, the election was stolen from him. And the reason he was so paranoid and actually had those tapes and had a bunch of private eyes spy people he hired was because he was scared that the election was going to be stolen from him again.
Did you know that Lyndon B. Johnson
has an obsession with his balls?
He would let everyone around know that he has an unusually large penis, which he nicknamed Jumbo. What a cool guy. That's my mom's favorite president, Lyndon B. Johnson, by the way.
Another famous Nixon quote: "The big Jewish contributors to the Democrats could investigate some of those cocksuckers. That's all."
Yeah, the last... You know what? The missing 18 and a half minutes of his tape was actually him finding a fursuit. And then saying he said he felt funny while looking at it and tried it on and then erased that footage from the recording. If you want more, check out my alternate furry history documentary where I cover this in detail. In my alternate furry history documentary, the FBI didn't consider Martin Luther King to be a threat until they found out he had a fur affinity account to wiretapping. It's a pretty good video.
It's the fursuit of freedom. Shit! I've forgotten what I was gonna... Oh, yes. My favorite president, Teddy Roosevelt. Because Teddy Roosevelt would do outrageous things like box people in the Oval Office.
Yes.
Eat 14 eggs for breakfast. And do cavalry charges and get people killed just because he wanted to show what a large penis he had.
And then they named the teddy bear after him.
Did they name the teddy bear after him?
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Bear. Because he hunted bears.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh.
I thought Teddy Bear was just coincidental.
No. And then Teddy Ruxpin was the evil bear that talked to him in his sleep.
Something really fucked up about the second Roosevelt, FDR. Is he married his cousin?
Oh, yeah. Probably why you couldn't walk after that.
Are you saying that genetic if you do incest, that you get genetic mutations yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Last time I fucked my sister, brother, I got myself crimped
AIDS.
leg.
Oh yeah, one of my assignments for politics class back in middle school was to like write a letter to Franklin Roosevelt or something about the war or whatever. So I wrote like, how are your legs doing, you crippled faggot? You can set it back in time. That's what I would do.
How your legs doing?
That freaked the fuck out of him because nobody knew. What his
Nobody knew. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I was like, I know.
Fuck.
I know. And if you don't want anyone else to know, you better put $1 million into a bank account and let it
You better
accumulate.
drop 2 bombs on Japan.
No, put $1 million in the bank account and let it accumulate interest for 50 years, and then give it to a man named Charles Barkley Topa when he's born. That's what I would do with time travel.
Which, by the way, is your real name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The full name, it's Charles, middle name Barkley, last name Tulpa.
That's all I saved for this episode.
That's all I got, too.
Alright. No, Bobby, you got anything else? Bobby? Dang it, Bobby. You have any more topics?
I like how I was Nolan in the last episode.
No, you're not. You're Nolan.
Well, how do we send this ship off?
Well, that was not Bohemian Bow Podcast. I'm this far from the mic.
And I am this far from the mic.
And I'm this far from the mic.
And together we are these far from the mic.
The mic.
Alright, that was horrible. Woo, we did it!
A gentleman of the Delaporte family returns to his ancestral estate in England. There, he and his black cat Niggerman are disturbed by verminous slithering behind the walls. There, he and his black cat Niggerman
Hey there, smooth skin, and welcome to the secret track.
Boom, bam, 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 bam. Yo, you just found a hidden track. Breaking my back just to give you a snack of my lyrical skill, the intent to kill. Medical records forged to say you were ill, hard pill to swallow, or cook on a stove, so you better watch out with Bohemian Grove. Not Bohemian Grove, not Bohemian Grove, not Bohemian Grove, not Bohemian Grove.
Congratulations. You found it. Do you feel accomplished? You should feel accomplished. That was 10 minutes of silence you just sat through.